I recently had an opportunity to do a photo shoot for a friend since the photographer she had called had some issues on that particular day. This gave me a lot of insight into various points related to makeup and what should be kept in mind in such scenarios. These shots also gave me an opportunity to test out all the new masks in Lightroom 12 in a practical scenario, and that is what we are going to look at in this video. Before we get into the masks and editing, let's look at the place this was shot at. I had just two ring lights that our celeb makeup artist uses for her mobile shots. This was in her living room with all warm lights, yellow walls, and around 10 feet to shoot in. There is almost no separation from the wall, and I had to be a bit careful about that for shadows. All these shots were taken at ISO 1600 since we did not have brighter lights. I used my D850 with the standard kit lens of 24-120. For the close-ups, I used my Tamron 90mm macro. All these shots are handheld and no tripod was harmed during this shoot. Okay, now that we have the background, let's dive into the LR12 masks and see what is new and how these features can be used in a practical photo shoot scenario. First, let's take a look at the masks panel and see what's new. On the top right here is the same icon. We have subject, sky, background, which is new, objects, which is also new. The rest are the same old ones, and this is also totally new. The person mask options, actually it'll detect all people in a frame, and you can choose person by person. In this case it's only one person, so you can either select the entire person, areas of the person, or a combination, for example face and body skin. If you want to create separate masks, you can check this, or create a combined mask. Now, these three, subject, sky, background, and people, are all AI based masks, which means when you copy and paste these masks to a different image, they will adapt to that image. The rest of the masks are specific to a given image, like they were earlier. We also have a new feature in the healing panel. This is the content aware remove. For example, if I select this, it's very similar to what we have in Photoshop. Not the best of jobs, but we also have an option, as you can see here. We can use command and drag on an area to make sure the fill content is chosen from there. Still not a very good job. We'll probably need to do a different selection on that. But this is the new feature that we might find useful in places. Now the intent here is that we will process just one image and apply those settings across all the images. And we will use the AI masks to their full potential. So let's get into masks. Since we are going to use AI based masks, we will process only one image and apply the same masks to all the images. We will also look at the new object selection tool and where we can actually use it in practice. So let's start with this particular image. Since I have already run all of these images through DxO Pure Raw last night so that I could look at them later, I'll plug in my preset which removes basically the detail panel because I've already run them through DxO Pure Raw. The first thing I'll do is adjust the white balance. W is the shortcut. I just click on the wall, it seems decent enough. I'll just adjust the tint and this seems fine. Now I would want a clean background, preferably white. So let's go into the masks. Let's use the new, okay, let's use this panel. Use the background and I'll Pull back on the dehaze, and I will increase everything else here so that we have a white. Now if you notice, it has taken away some from the edges. So what we can do is subtract and use the new feature select people. We could use select subject, but people does a better job. So I'll choose the entire person, create a mask. Not sure if you can see the difference. So let me just toggle this. Look at the outlines. There you go. Now, I would also recommend that you rename the masks as to what they are, because this is what you will see when you are copying settings. Okay, so now that we have the background cleaned up, let's also crop this so we get a closer look. Okay, back into the masks using the shortcut of K. We'll create a new mask. We'll do a select people, and this time I'm gonna do all of these masks and create separate masks. Now this is the face skin. I would rename it, and I will explain why later. So let's say we do a clarity of -50, -15 on the texture, maybe shadows up by 10. So we have 10, 15, -50 here. And this is the body skin. We'll do the same here. 10, -15, -50, and rename this to body skin. The third mask is eyebrows. Let's rename this. Depending on your subject, you'll probably do something with this. Let's just say we increase the shadows, add some texture. Mask 4 is the whites of the eye. Let's zoom in. We'll increase the shadows a bit. Maybe cut down on the saturation marginally, and whatever else you want. Mask 5 is iris and pupil, so we will rename this. In this we will do something very similar. Increase the shadows, increase the texture so it kind of pops out, and mask 6 is the lips. Rename that. Maybe just add some shadows to lighten the color. Mask 7 is hair. Let's rename that. Add some texture to it. Maybe reduce the blacks a bit. And maybe add some shadows. Let's say we are done with the masking. Close this panel. And that's what we have. Now we also have some jewelry here. We would probably want to enhance that. Let's go back into the masks panel, K. And now we use the new object selection tool. To select the object, we have two modes of selection. One is a brush, the other is a rectangular marquee. So let's try the brush. We brush onto this part. Let's see what it does. Oh yes, the rings are picked up. Bump up the texture and some on the highlights, maybe more. Okay, let's rename this to jewelry and we add another mask with objects. Let's just brush over this. And that's also done. Let's add another one. This time we'll try the marquee tool. We'll just make a selection here. Yeah, done. Add another one. Objects. This time we will go into brush. I'm zoomed in at 200% so we can accurately do these, and then I will add yet another object, this earring, and we do have some bangles here, so I will add yet another object. Okay, and I will add one final object here, this bangle. So as you can see, all of this is done. The difference is all of these are AI masks. The objects are not. They will be specific to a given image. Okay, let's say I also want to enhance the dress. Let's create another object mask and let's do a selection across the dress. It's also picked up the shadow from the original image. I would have rather it picked up from the rendered current image because the stacking order does matter. If I put the background on top, that will totally make a different image. So this is not picking up from the rendered image, but let's proceed. So let's say we just bump up the texture here. That looks great. And let's also rename this to dress. Okay, so we are done with the image. And let's close out of the masks panel. Okay, we have a scratch here. Let's try the new content aware fill. Okay, great job. Done. Now in a photo shoot you would have hundreds of shots just like I have here. I've only taken a small portion of that. Now when we copy these settings, a command shift C is the shortcut. Healing is local, we don't want that. Crop is specific to an image, we don't want that. We don't want all the masks. Even though dress and jewelry are specific to a given image, we will actually copy generally all of them and disable them when needed. For now, I will disable these two because the rest are all AI based. So they will adapt to every image. We just copy these settings, go back into the grid mode, do a select all, deselect this one. A command shift V is the shortcut. And no, we don't want to merge with any masks. We want to replace all the masks there are. If you make a specific change to one particular mask, then you would choose merge. Otherwise, like in this case, you would choose replace. Now I'm going to have a cup of tea, walk around a bit, and I hope some people will be able to appreciate the fact that Adobe is really concerned about our health and they force us to take a break while AI works for us. We'll be back shortly, right after this is done. Now that we are done with the pasting, it's still building previews, but look at the difference. All different images, but just look at the magic of AI. This is at 100%. These were taken with the macro lens, so obviously the same settings will not apply. These have been done using a flash. As you can see, the previews are still building. We missed one detail in the mask earlier. Let's complete that using this particular image. Okay, so the part we were missing in the earlier image was the teeth. So let's go back into masks, K shortcut, create a new mask. Let's select people, person 1 and teeth. Create a mask, rename it to teeth, and maybe we decrease the saturation here, decrease some of the texture here, maybe add a bit of shadows. Of course, as per your taste. And we are done with the mask. Now, why was it important to name the masks? Because A, when you are copying, you can see the names. Now we can also include the teeth. Since this is all AI based, it will adapt to all images. To make it easier, just go into your presets, create a preset for this, portraits, let's say. We include all the masks and create. So this preset now you can apply to any such image. For example, if we look at this image, it's still working on the preview. I think the tint is a bit too high. Better tones. We can actually increase the shadows here. And for the same person, we can simply copy the settings and paste them onto their images. But basically, you have a working set. Let's see if we have another example of teeth here. Okay, this is one where you can actually see the makeup. It's the same person, the same settings work perfectly. If you're posting onto the web, you don't really have to do much. If you're gonna print, yes, you'll probably need to work on the hair. But if you actually had proper lighting and some background separation, these would be your final print images. At least most of them. So it's still building the previews, but you can already see the results. Since this is a different model, we can go back and change, let us say, particular settings for this particular face. Maybe a bit more of the dehaze, a bit more of the shadows. Maybe reduce the clarity even further. Background seems fine. If you really want, you can actually increase the exposure, but You'll need to be a bit careful as to how much you increase that. You don't want to lose any of the hair details. So that's about it. You built all of this. One image edit gives you all of this with some discrepancies, makes it a lot easier to sort out images from a 1,000 shot photo shoot. And you can only work on the selected ones, and it makes selecting these images a lot easier. You can put AI to work for you. Just copy paste the settings and leave it for maybe half an hour across the entire shoot, maybe an hour. That's about it. All of this heavy lifting is done for you. So as you can see, there's not much else to do. That's it for now. Have fun till the next one.